Hey guys, so today we're going to talk a little bit more about subject-verb agreement, specifically with something that we've had a little bit of trouble with when we've been practicing it in class, so I wanted to focus on that a little bit more. But before we get to that, I want you to take a second and complete the exercises on the front page of your sheet. Okay, so write down a preposition that could go in each blank and locate the prepositional phrase. Circle the preposition and underline the object. Okay, so video is going to pause, all right, and come back once you've completed that. So if you haven't completed it yet, stop and do that now. Okay, so hopefully we've gotten a chance to complete our little exercise on the front. So it says write down a preposition that could go in each blank. So your preposition might be different from mine, all right, but they waited, that's a typo, I should say they waited by the phone. That could be a good one. Maybe they waited under the phone or on the phone, whatever you said. All right, she threw a rock in the creek. That could work there. Again, yours could be different. Maybe she threw a rock over the creek. She threw a rock towards the creek. All right, put them, we're going to use in again, in the basket. But again, could be under the basket. Could be beside the basket. Okay, whatever preposition you chose. All right, we'll go to school. All right. And they talked, I'm going to say, during the show. Okay, so again, whatever preposition you chose is fine as long as you have a preposition there. So that should be a word that's showing us time, direction, or location. Okay? All right, so in this next part, we're going to locate the prepositional phrase. So make sure you're checking yours. Circle the preposition and underline the object. So I was standing in line. My prepositional phrase is in line. We should have in as the preposition, line as the object. All right, put your bike against the wall. All right, we should have against as the preposition. All right, and wall as the object. Can you walk around it? We should have around as the preposition and it as the object. They brought the food into the kitchen. Into is the preposition, kitchen is the object. Elise sat between us. Between is the preposition, us is the object. And again, make sure you're correcting your paper as we do this if you got anything wrong. She walked to the door and called to me. We have to here. To, door is my first one, and to me is my second one. He called from Atlanta. I am afraid of dogs. My aunt arrived during lunch, and I rode home by myself. Okay, so hopefully you did pretty well in those, finding our prepositional phrases. That's something we reviewed at the beginning of the year. One thing you might have noticed is that a lot of the time prepositional phrases show up at the end of the sentences, and that's a really common place for prepositional phrases to be. However, another really common place for prepositional phrases to be is right between the subject and the verb, which is why we're talking about them. All right, so let's look at some examples. The students in the stadium from NMS cheered for the Indians. Okay, so here my subject is students and my verb is cheered, and I've got two prepositional phrases in between them. Okay, Fred from the corner store says hello. Same thing. My subject is Fred, my verb is says, and I've got a prepositional phrase in between them. All right. So remember, subjects and verbs must agree. So if the subject is singular, a verb should be singular. If the subject is plural, the verb should be plural. So like in these ones, the dog with the pointed ears run or runs towards us. All right, my subject is dog, and then I've got this whole prepositional phrase in between them with the pointed ears. So I want to make sure I'm choosing the subject that goes with my verb, or the verb that goes with my subject rather, not the verb that goes with the object of the preposition. Okay, so I would want to choose the dog runs. All right, because runs goes with my word dog, not with ears, even though it's right before them. All right, the bands from all over the city march or marches in the parade. So same thing. My subject is bands. All right, and then I have this prepositional phrase from all over the city. But I want to ignore that. Okay, I don't want that. All right, so I'm going to choose march. All right, because it's the band's march, not the city doing the marching. All right, so one thing that you can kind of do, and you can actually physically do this on your paper or just kind of do it in your own mind, but I kind of like to, in my head, cross out the prepositional phrase, so I just ignore it when I'm thinking about subject-verb agreement, okay? So the boys in the middle of the road throw or throws rocks. So I have my subject, boys, and I have all these prepositional phrases before I get to my verb, in the middle and of the road. So I'm just going to cross that out. So the boys throw rocks. All right, the identity of the man with the red feet remains a mystery. So here my subject is identity, all right, and I have a bunch of prepositional phrases again, of the man with the red feet. I don't know why his feet are red. So I'm going to say identity remains. All right, a burst of scream erupts from the crowds. So this time, screams is not my subject. Burst is my subject. Of screams is a prepositional phrase. So I want to say a burst erupts. All right, I don't want to choose the one that goes with the object of the preposition. I want to choose the one that goes with my subject. Sorry about that. All right, a cloud of gnats hover or hovers by the door. So same thing. Cloud is my subject. All right. Of gnats is a prepositional phrase. I'm going to cross it out. So it's a cloud hovers by the door. Okay. A feeling of excitement before a holiday makes students act crazy. All right, so I'm going to go ahead and cross out of excitement and before a holiday because feeling is my subject. These are all prepositional phrases. So a feeling makes students act crazy. Okay? All right, so what I want you to do, take a look at the independent practice, and I want you to go through and I want you to cross out all the prepositional phrases you see there first. So right now, just cross out the prepositional phrases. All right, so hopefully we've crossed out our prepositional phrases. We should have crossed out on the left, of each student, from the library, on the great white shark, from and an S in the 6th grade, and of fog. So we had lots of them there. Try to cross out fog there. There we go. Okay, so now I want you to take a second and I want you to list what the correct verb for each of our subjects is in each of these sentences. Alright, so hopefully you got a chance to pick the dancers take, the parents open, the books are, the students know, and the clouds are. Alright, we're going to keep practicing with our subject-verb agreement. There's some more other weird things with it that we'll talk about, but hopefully this makes sense to you, and we'll talk about it more on Monday. Have a great weekend.